Hi, this is Kylie Coo. Welcome to my studio and welcome to creating a positivity deck. We're still in the creative state of being and the prompt for this week is believe. So I noted the prompt in my journal, and as I've been doing through the creative state of being, I left actually journaling about the prompt until after I'd created the card. So this week I am leaving the film at normal speed. Some of you have indicated that you like to watch at normal speed. Obviously, if you want to watch it quicker, you can use the little settings button to do so. You just won't hear me speak. Or you will do, but it will be speeded up as well. So here we go. I turn to make my card. So I'm just taking this piece of tea or coffee dyed stained paper and I'm simply going to glue that as the kind of foundation for my card. As is often the case when I sit down to make these cards, I have no idea the direction that it's going to head in. I'm just taking my time and enjoying the process and working intuitively. Now I did earlier, or towards the end of last week, over the weekend in fact, put up a video where I was doing some 5-minute pages as part of a challenge. And whilst I've been saying recently that, I like to be mindful while I'm working, I think it's also good to shake things up. So especially in this creative state of being, I want to challenge myself, I want to do different things. So it was good to do the working quickly as well. So here I am just taking two colours, a turquoise and a mint, and I'm simply going to use my little jelly plate to put those colours onto my card. I use this little jelly plate a lot, in fact I probably use it more often than my large jelly plate now. It's just so handy for getting colour down. Just putting another piece of paper underneath so that it will pick up any of the excess. I try as far as possible not to get paint on the reverse side of the card, though if it happens it really doesn't matter. So today I was very much thinking about believe in terms of my creativity, but my mind does go into other areas of believe and what that means. But there was something for me about believing in myself, about believing in the hopes and the dreams that I have, in believing in others, and I think that's really important too, believing in their hopes and dreams, because I think if you can believe in others, if you can believe in their hopes and dreams, then that in a sense is a way of supporting people. It's not about being glib, it's just about providing that level of love and support which leads, I think, into encouraging people and also helping them believe in themselves. So I've now taken fuchsia and this neon pink, and again just applying a little to the jelly plate. I don't want to swamp it with paint, I really just want to get a base coat on this card. So one of the things that has continued to crop up for me during making this positivity deck so far has very much been about my own creativity and my creative journey and where I want to go. And some days I feel a little bit clearer and more certain about the direction that I want to go in, and other times less so. And I think that's fine. That's just part of the process of thinking things through, of challenging oneself in terms of what's right. But you'll see later when I do my journaling that I actually conclude that I am on the right path. This is my creative journey. And, you know, I'd invite you, as always, to think about the prompt and to think, do you believe in yourself? And if not, why not? How are you going to turn that around? And, you know, it's not about whether or not we think something is good or bad. Every piece of art, everything we craft has value. It has value to ourselves. More than anything, it has value to ourselves. Even if we think we could have done it better, there's something about that process, there's something about working with our hands, working with colour, and just getting into that kind of creative flow. So I think we all need to believe in ourselves. And we need to believe in our creative selves. So yes, I invite you to think about that, and if you're making a card, to think about believing in yourself, believing in your creativity, and getting that through and into your card. So I had used a bit of bubble wrap there, again, just to add a bit of interest. I was just drawn to it. It was some pieces that I'd been working with earlier in the week. And I'm now taking this kind of plum colour. It may have been called soft plum. And just taking a little on a very small paintbrush. And I just start to play. Now, it has... I don't know, this particular paint is quite hard to describe. It's kind of semi-transparent. Has an almost metallic feel to it. And you'll see there, I was literally just playing. I was enjoying just moving that little bit of paint about and watching how it was kind of creating those soft, wavy lines. And I did it a bit more. Just played. But as I say, I'm just working intuitively. I have no particular thought in mind of how this card's going to look. But it's just about enjoying what I'm doing and believing that what I'm doing will take me to the place that this particular card needs to go. And you'll very much see that I'm not rushing this. I think all in all the card took around 30 minutes, although I did feel that I was working at it for much longer. Although unusually I did take a small break in the middle of creating it. So I'm now taking this paint called Rose Dreams. It's also kind of semi-transparent. It needed a good shake, so that's what I was doing. You could see in the bottle that it had kind of separated a bit. And again, I just start to play around those same shapes. And it's almost doing something similar, just playing with the paint, watching how it moves on the card. And just knowing and believing that this card will get to the place that it needs to get to. So at this point, I just take some water and I go over these pieces, just wetting them a little, and then what I'll do is I'll take the other end of the paintbrush and I just mark some lines into it. No rhyme or reason why, I just started to do that. And at that point I thought, yes, this is starting to take shape. So I give it a dry before doing any more. So I'm now taking the fuchsia, and again what I'll do is just to take the end of the paintbrush and I start to put some dots around those shapes again. Now at this point I was just sitting looking at that space in there, and you can see me moving my finger around it, and I find that I do often touch my art, and that almost helps me in terms of where to go next. So I'd pulled out these little pieces that I had made a long time ago. I just felt that something was needed in there. Something needed to be added to it. So I'm looking at those pieces, deciding if any fit. I'd put that one off to the top corner there, thinking it was a possibility, and I decide to go with it. So this is roughly a circle. It's a bit misshapen circle, but I like it because it's imperfect. And all I do at this point is I take some black StazOn ink and I just go around the edge. And I think when I was looking at this, I was almost seeing another world, perhaps my creative world. And once that was done, I just took my glue stick and glued it into place. I wanted it slightly off-centre, for no reason other than that's where I felt it needed to be. and just using my rag there just to push it down. I was trying not to put any paint or ink onto it as far as possible. I just use the roller there with the rag in between, and that's just to help make sure it's fully adhered. At this point, this kind of yellow-green was kind of drawing my attention, and I suddenly felt that the card needed something else on it. So I pulled out that citron green and also the neon yellow, although I didn't use the neon yellow in the end. And at this point, without really thinking about it, I just started to use my finger. I went in with a very light layer of paint to begin with. And that's often just part of the way that I work. I don't necessarily think about that, but I know it's because I feel that if I start lightly, I can always come back from there if I don't like it. But I like that bit of green, and so I go on to add more. But I was also looking at the kind of blue colours in there, and I pulled out the turquoise again. And I also start to add, with my finger, some of the turquoise. And this goes on for a good few minutes, where I just keep adding both colours and trying to almost blend the two in together. Eventually it starts to hide quite a bit of the detail in the background, although you can still see elements of it. I know for a lot of people that sometimes hiding things up that have initially felt quite good, it seems difficult sometimes to do that. But again, for me, it's about believing in what I'm doing, about where the card's taking me. And okay, sometimes it might end up that I would think, well, it was perhaps better before, but more often than not, where I get to is where I need to be and where it needs to take me in a sense. So I do believe in that respect. But you know, all that other stuff, it's still sitting there underneath, and it's helped the card, it's helped me to get to this point. So as I say, I just keep working away with those colours, adding, blending, adding more, until I get to the point where I'm happy with it. Now I go to dry the card, but as has been the case recently with my heat tool, it wasn't working. I use it for a little while, then it won't turn on for 10 minutes or so. So I went off, washed my hands and made a cup of coffee, took a couple of minutes away and then came back and finished drying off the card. Normally I would work on a card straight through, but I didn't want to do any more while that paint was wet and quite thick. And there you can see all the little bits underneath, still there, still slightly visible, but changed a bit, and that's led to here. Again, I'm just kind of my senses really are at work here, and I'm touching the card and kind of feeling what it might need next. So I just grabbed this bundle of pens. I can't tell you what make they are, they came from a supermarket. I also grabbed my permeable roller. That jelly roll, although it didn't work, so I do go on to use the signal pen. But I take this and I just start to mark in some of those lines in my little world. Now I think that paper was originally just created with, I can't remember if it was watercolours or inks. I did these so long ago. And I just let the colours blend into each other. I sprayed water on them, and it just creates these nice little effects. And I just keep them in my kind of little stash and pull them out from time to time. And it's the type of thing you could do just a few lines on it, or you could go down to really a lot of detail. And I like the fact that there's little bits and there's larger bits of colour. Now I just want to go round that with the black just to help it stand out a little. And this shows the fact that it's not a perfect circle, but as I say, I like the fact that it's imperfect in that sense. And this is the sort of thing, it's a bit like just doodling, that it can really absorb you. It's almost meditative in its approach. I like to meditate when I can, but you know, despite years and years of trying it, I still have, feels like 1,000 thoughts a second going through my head. But if I do something like this, I can get really into the zone with it. Yes, I'm probably still thinking about other things, but it gives me a focus in a sense that really helps. So this takes a little time. But as I say, I'm just going to show you it all the way through in real time today. And just adding the kind of gold lines in that kind of yellow-green area. And it feels to me like my little world, my little creative world, is taking shape. Just adding some blue dots. And this is where I take the white Jelly Roll pen, but for some reason it didn't want to play ball. But no worries, I just pull out my Uniball signal. And again, just doodling away inside the little areas that I'd created. Went back around my little world with the white pen and then thought about the space surrounding it. And I decided that all I wanted to do was a very, very scribbly border. Nothing that was neat or in any way uniform. And then I did the exact same thing with the black pen. At this point, the card was feeling done, and all I needed to do was to add my word believe. And again, I just use my black pen and a little bit of the white pen to do it. I'm writing it here just to double check my spelling. It's one of those words that no matter how many times I look at it, I'm not convinced that I've got the correct spelling. So once done, I then sit down to do my little bit of journaling. And again this week, I've basically told you my thoughts as we've gone through this video. So please do think about belief and what it means for you and what it means for you creatively. Make it positive, please. Once more, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll join me again for next week's Positivity Deck card. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.